Hello, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to the first of my brand new segment called Education. Now, this new subject of mine, my new show on the entertainment headquarters, is all about things within pop culture or things, popular shows that I have very little knowledge about within the world of entertainment. And there's a particular show or there's a particular genre that I don't know a lot about. And as you've seen by the title, it is, of course, Gundam. And Gundam is a huge, well-known, popular, franchise that has taken the world by storm for many, many years and has a huge following. So for me to talk about such a huge, well-known franchise, I've had to bring on a couple of experts, in my opinion, a couple of people that know what they're talking about. So, of course, joining me is my good friend and fellow content creators, Anthony Jordan and Gojira 851. Welcome.
What's up? Thank you for
Yes,
having us.
this is honestly, thank you for wanting to do this with us because this is a brand new thing I'm getting myself into. So the more knowledge and the more you can tell us, the better I'll be. So, Mr. Anthony Jordan and Gojira 851, where would you like to start when it comes to Gundam?
First, I think it would be good to just talk a little bit about the creator, Tomino, who was born just a little over a month before the bombing of Pearl Harbor on November 5th, 1941. He grew up post war Japan. His dad was an engineer for the military and did have a hand in designing military equipment. So, in addition to having a post-war Japan shaping his political and social views, because of his dad's background, he also had a certain interest in military technology, and themes he liked to explore was just unchecked technological progress in addition to Japanese properties. Some of his biggest influences was Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke for their science fiction work.
Yeah.
He tried to get into a technical high school, but he didn't quite make it, and then turned into the arts, which he would eventually make his way through the ranks. And over time, he would develop the idea of Mobile Suit Gundam, and I do have two things I want to read here, but about Mobile Suit Gundam and the themes that would be core to him. But this is a quote of his when he's talking about it. I think in a way I think of it this way. So you say, learn from the past, from the history. Is there a politician who has learned from history? A soldier? None, right? During the wartime, Japan politicians would bow down to the military. Before that, before you know it, there were no politicians, and yet everything was left up to the military. I do military. Everyone is like that. I don't think adults who want to be politicians or do anything in the political arena are uneducated. I think they have too little common sense. There is nothing cool about war, and war must not happen. However, unfortunately, we will never be rid of war thanks to the delusions of those who yearn for it. So you see, he's a man very similar to Ishiro Honda that didn't
Yes.
put a lot of faith in politicians. And it's a theme in his shows, he puts his faith into the ordinary people to do the right thing. And I was reading something about a historical character that he was fascinated with, the Red Baron, which in the first series we have a character who's known by the name the Red Comet. So once you know that, it kind of puts it together. But to give you an overview, this is and I'll hand it over to Matt from here, but this is the overview, the narration they give you at the beginning of the first episode of the first series to show you how bloody this conflict is. It is the year 0079 of the Universal Century. A half century has passed since Earth began moving its burgeoning population into gigantic orbiting space colonies, a new home for mankind where people are born and raised and die. 9 months ago, a cluster of colonies furthest from Earth, called Side 3, proclaiming itself the Principality of Zeon, launched a war of independence against the Earth Federation. Initial fighting, and get this is how bloody this war is. Initial fighting lasted over 1 month and saw both sides lose half their respective populations. And think about that, 1 month, half of humanity gone. People were horrified by the indescribable atrocities that have been committed in the name of independence. 8 months have passed since the rebellion began. They were at a stalemate, and that's where our first episode begins.
Wow, that just sounds epic, especially for an animated show. When this
epic
first
and just
was this show originally aimed at kids, or has it always been for young adults?
I'd say this
it
is
was
more
kind of
I'd say more adults. I'd say
teenagers and adults.
Yeah, teenagers and
Tomino,
adults.
He wanted to take the premise of giant robots and tell a more grounded, realistic story. Before this, we had what was the super robot genre, which was basically superhero. There was just morally black and white. And with the real robot genre, they're treated as practical machines. They're not superpowered. The machine robots aren't superheroes in themselves. And the people are flawed. The conflict's morally gray. There's people you're going to love and hate in both factions.
So tell me, because you mentioned this is from the very first season or show. So tell me, about the first ever Gundam. What was the first show like? Because obviously, way back when did the first come out? The 1980s?
1979.
Oh, 1979. So there you go. You learned something new. So even way back then, this show was aimed at a young adult audience. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And obviously, this director here, the creator, was quite, he kind of had a vision. And I think his vision he had was quite with the times we're in now, even way back then. If you think of the likes of Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, he had a vision of what the future was going to be like. And pretty much a lot of what he predicted is kind of happening with we can now communicate like this on laptops and computers and have big phones with imagery and all that. Back then, he kind of predicted, war and factions and world, different battles with among the government of the world, except we're getting Gundams or these mechanical suits to do it for. So a lot. What can I say? A lot of this could potentially happen in the future. So, hello, Jedi. Thank you for watching, my friend. So, where do we go next? Who would like to take over? Matt?
Okay, so the huge arms race started with creating the mobile suits, and it became a very, cutthroat time, creating these mobile suits, especially living out in space. And that's when they developed the ball, which was just essentially a ball with arms and one cannon on it, and it wasn't very practical.
It
And
was
then,
adapted from basically construction equipment that worked
right,
in space.
yeah, it was essentially a forklift that could fly. Pretty much, it was very, very rudimentary. It was awful. Eventually, Xeon created their first mobile suit. Was the Zaku. And one big thing that you'll see with Xeon is that with, I hate saying this, but Nazi Germany, you'll see that a lot with them, with their designs that they have for that. I think they were designed after that. So they created the Zaku 1. However, they did not, there were a lot to be desired with the Zaku 1s. Eventually, they created the Zaku 2. And with that, it was actually created to actually be very powerful, but then along came this little pilot named Shar Aznable. Now, he has quite the backstory, and I don't want to get into too many particulars. I want you to watch the show for yourself. This man was deemed the Red Comet because of one battle, and he took out several Salamis-class warships. Now, these are essentially battleships that could fly in space. And he took out 9 of these by himself. And let's just say it was quite the sight to behold.
Imagine if this were to happen today. Imagine one fighter pilot taking 9 of the most advanced aircraft carriers in the world down in just a matter of minutes, single-handed.
Exactly.
Wow.
So yes, so that's when he was deemed the Red Comet. So he was sent out on special missions, and eventually the Earth Federation, who was on the back pedal, they were getting their asses kicked at this point. And the Earth Federation is the heroes in this story. They wanted mobile suits of their own. However, they kept on making clunkers. The first mobile suit they made, at least I think the first one they made, was the gun tank. What's up, Big Bad Wolf? The first one they created was the gun tank, which essentially is a mobile suit that's essentially based on a tank. It's cool, very immobile. Then they created the gun cannon, which is more cool, but again, has its limitations. Then they found a scientist who's kind of trying to defect. Sound familiar?
Yes.
And he created the RX-78 Gundam, which is a marvel of technology, with special armor, special weaponry. And when our first episode begins in one of the colonies, the Zaku's, along with Shar, Shar sent these Zaku's in to actually take care of these mobile suits. They don't know anything about the Gundam. You just send in and just create havoc and take care of the Federation. That's when the pilot, now he's no longer there. When actually the son of the professor, the creator of the Gundam, actually named Amuro Ray. Yes, he actually gets inside of the Gundam, which actually, it's almost like Providence in a way, because he actually hears this Gundam actually calling to him in a way. It's like, it's weird. He gets in and he actually knows almost like how to, it's obviously he feels out. Now, he has the instruction book, yes. But for him to actually pilot this thing the way how he does, it's incredible.
It's like
we'll get into like the whole, like, the sense that he gets. It's a big theme in Gundam. It's like the evolution of humanity when it comes to this as well. I'm sorry, Anthony, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to say, it's like when he sat just sitting in it, he was granted it's like he almost had an instinctual understanding of how to pilot it.
So he gets in this Gundam, and he takes care of these Zaku's, all 3 of them by himself. Very reminiscent of the Red Comet. And then he's able to save the colony and save the rest of the Federation. And then that's when our story continues. Now, originally, fun story about this. Over in Japan, Gundam was actually done in 3 movies, and it was done in episodes as well. I originally watched the movies. It's actually done in 3 feature-length films. There's film 1, which actually goes from their continuation from space to Earth, and then I believe the second film is from their times on Earth going back up into space, and then from space, like all their fights in space, pretty much. But that's already here. Now we'll get into that.
43 episodes into 3 movies.
Yes, 43 episodes into few minutes, which you can watch on Netflix right now if you'd like to. But just to let you know, there is no English dub for them. But the Japanese version of it is also very nice to watch as well. Just to let you know.
I'm sure it's available on the Netflix in the UK.
Oh, okay.
I know that the last one that they did, the new CGI series, is available on Netflix in the UK.
What do you think about that?
I haven't watched it yet because, like I say, I wanted to know a little bit about the history and the lore before I deep dived into it.
So, just a long story short, shenanigans happen, war is happening, and Amuro just keeps on getting better and better fighting pilots. They're on his level, and he actually fights with Char and actually hangs with Char as well, who's this outstanding pilot, but also is actually able to hang with him as well as they make their way down to Earth. And the fun thing about this and interesting about this is that Amuro is a 15-year-old. Anthony, how old is Amuro in this?
What?
How old is Amuro in this show? 15 years old?
He's a teenager because part of the tragic irony of it, his father, the war had gone so bad, humans, they're now resulting to sending children to fight these wars. And his father designed the Gundam with the intent that kids wouldn't have to fight anymore. And his 15, 16-year-old son winds up piloting the Gundam and fighting this war.
Which, again, that's another theme of Gundam going through from all the series moving forward, is that children essentially are piloting this all the way from the 0079, the original, all the way to Iron Blood Orphans as well, also with these other series as well. So there's that.
Well,
Battles continue.
I'll tell you what's available. I'm just going to show you. This is what's on my UK Netflix. This is UK Netflix.
Okay.
It just says Gundam 1. And that's from 1981.
Wow.
And then after that, it's Gundam. What's that? Gundam 2 from 19. So have I got names for these? So Gundam 1 simply called Mobile Suit Gundam.
I think that's the first film.
Yeah,
I think these are the films.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the second one is Mobile Suit Gundam 2, Soldiers of Sorrow.
Soldiers of Sorrow. That's the second film.
So Mobile Suit Gundam 3 is Encounters in Space.
Yes, that's it. Those are the 3 films. Yep.
Right. So is that the first original show?
Yep, that's the original show done in. Now, the original show, I don't know where you can. I think you might be able to watch those on Crunchyroll, perhaps. But the original show compressed into the 3 films, and now there are little things that they took out and put into the films, but they're like little tiny nitpicks that they took out and put in the film. So, but essentially, you're getting the full story in there. Like they took out little tiny characters and like Makuve and his Gion, pretty much, which is like a little side character, pretty much. But you get the main story in the film, so you're still getting the main story. So.
It should be noted too, the original series was kind of a sleeper hit. When it initially released, it wasn't that successful, so a planned 50 episodes was cut down to 43, and it was later, after the first movie came out and the model kits started getting released, where it began to snowball into popularity.
There's another one on here from UK Netflix, Mobile Suit Gundam Char's Counterattack.
That is the very, very late sequel to this. Because there are several series. There is Zeta Gundam, which is the direct sequel to this. I feel like I'm missing. There's Double Zeta Gundam, and help me out, Anthony. My brain's not working right now.
0080 War in the Pocket, 8th MS Team, which are both set during the 1-year war, then 0083, which kind of sets the stage for Zeta Gundam.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot, but I'm talking about like the main things you go from with Amuro versus Char, pretty much. I was thinking about those things, but yeah, okay, we got you.
Mm-hmm. And then, then there's Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway.
That's much later in the UC timeline, and I'm just gonna say put that one on the back burner because going into it like fairly new, you're just gonna be completely confused.
Yeah, that's a character from Char's counterattack, and just that's a late sequel to Char's counterattack. Yeah, don't watch that one yet. Yeah,
and he's the son to one of the characters in this film, who's the captain of White Base, which is the ship the Gundam's on.
Yeah,
and then the latest thing that I've got, and this is the last thing that's available on UK Netflix, Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, which is 6 episodes, and it came out last year.
That the CG one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then that's its own thing.
Right, so it's got the Red Wolf Squadron joins the Battle of the European Front to reclaim Chiju Napakwa. Later, Captain Solari notices something amiss. So that's everything that's available to me for now. But you would see the first 3 films I've mentioned. That's a good place to start.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, love them. Absolutely love those films. I stand by those films. Absolutely perfection. I love those movies.
Right. Cool. So where do we go from them initial films? What comes next?
0080. War in the Pockets. It's a fun Christmas movie. No, it's a fun Christmas show that I'm being facetious. Okay. It's set around Christmas. However, it's a strike team that is set to deal with a Gundam that's actually being built for Amuro. Here's another thing. Amuro is actually beginning to become more and more powerful the longer and longer the series goes on.
It's something called a new type.
Yes, it's the next step of human evolution, pretty much. Which I'm sorry, I don't mean to spoil that, but it's a thing in the show. Mm-hmm. So the Gundam actually starts to become useless to Amuro towards the end of the Gundam series. So they're actually developing a new Gundam for him on this one colony that it's supposed to be all secret. So on 0080, this strike team is sent in to go in and destroy it. But that's where I'm going to stop talking. It takes place around Christmas.
And it's basically the main character is a kid who's like mesmerized by war and doesn't understand the human cost of war, which he gradually just gets exposed to throughout the short series. It's a really like emotionally heavy one, but it's just very grounded and just very well written. Like I think Matt can attest, like we both grew up, there was like the Gulf War, the war in Bosnia, even when we were teenagers, and there was the war in Iraq, and we were like this kid where we grew up seeing war on TV as something distant.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah. So the reach of mobile suit Gundam, obviously, like you said, Anthony, it started off slow. Now it's like a worldwide phenomenon.
It's one of the like top grossing like anime franchises of all time. I think in terms of earning, it's second only to Dragon Ball Z.
And it, well, you know, Anthony, I did not know anything about Gundam. But then obviously I have a store in my area called Forbidden Planet, which is like a collector superstore. And I have shown Anthony some of the displays that's in my store, and there's a full wall just full of Gundam.
Yeah, they got some good ones there.
Yes.
One of the pictures he showed, it has Makuve's Gaian.
Nice. There's a store called Pop Culture, and they have an entire wall of Gundam as well. Actually, I'm in the process of building this guy right here, which is Char's Zaku from the prequel animated show. This is on Hulu and on Crunchyroll. I bought this guy. This is my favorite mobile suit, Tall Beast from Gundam Wing. I need to still build him. Oh, I can't stretch anymore. I got a few more back there, but yeah. So got a couple back there too. So I know that feeling.
And another one in the timeline. Listen, we're not, like he said, it's best not to say much about 0080 because you don't really want to soften the emotional impact of the show. But another one of the best ones, and I don't Matt will back me up here, is the 8th MS team, which is its 1-year war side story. And it's kind of Gundam, but you sprinkle in Vietnam and Romeo and Juliet because part of the main plot is the main character in the first episode, he meets this female Xeon pilot, and they have to work together if they want to survive. And it's a romance between two soldiers on enemy sides, and it's phenomenally well written. It's got great action and possibly one of the, if not the single best mech battle in the entire franchise, with Shiro Amada in the Easy 8 Gundam versus the Goof Custom.
Yep.
Wow.
And it's a super tragic battle too, because the guy he's fighting, you just know if these two had met outside of the war, they would have become instant buddies.
So tell us a bit about these.
Oh, okay. That is from 0083 Stardust Memory. That is another sequel to the original 0079. Essentially, during the closing of the 1-year war, the forces of Xeon is starting their retreat. And one Anavel Gato and his forces. Well, okay, he's the soldier. He's the soldier, and his forces are starting to retreat, and they go into hiding. Well, even though they're being defeated, the Federation is still wanting to create mobile suits. And this one scientist, forgive me, I can't remember her name right now.
Nina Purpleton.
Thank you. She creates she creates the Gundams that you see. She creates the first two. You see the last one later. She creates Unit 1 and Unit 2. Okay. Anavel got to actually, I don't understand how he does it, but he actually sneaks onto the base and he actually steals Unit 2, Physalis. And the reason why Physalis is so interesting is that the Earth Federation actually breaks the Antarctic Treaty. The Antarctic Treaty is that they're not supposed to have nuclear weapons. And not only that, they're not supposed to be able to put nuclear weapons on, not just have nuclear weapons, but not supposed to be able to put it on mobile suits. They put it on Unit 2, Physalis. Not only do they put it inside of Physalis and they arm it as well. Gato waits until they put it on there, and then he steals it. And then the rest of the series is about trying to get it back from him. And then they use Unit 1 to go try and hunt him down with it. So
it's got a very Top Gun feel to it.
Yes. And also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's also known by the fans as Top Gundam.
Yes. In my opinion, it's got the best animation in the entire series.
Mm.
Like the way how the mobile suits move and the way how the gears move and all the moving pieces to it, it's just fantastic. I highly recommend Stardust Memory. And also you see the tragedy of the people outside of the Federation and Xeon, people involved in it as well, interacting with it. It's just chef's kiss.
What about, since we're told about that, when the GPO-1 gets upgraded to the full burner in its test flight on the moon, that is just gorgeously animated. See this suit testing out its zero gravity capabilities, and with the music added to it, it's phenomenal.
So good. Yeah. Also, I'm sorry. One more thing. Also, we meet characters in this series that actually meet over to other series as well. That's a great thing about the 1 year war characters. They don't just get put into just one. They carry over into other things as well. That's the great thing about the original series of Mobile Suit Gundam. They spread out everywhere. So you start with one, and it makes you want to watch everything else. So, yes.
Yeah, and it's like, so there's not like one leading character. There's different characters from different series that can interlink with each other.
Right. There's
so
different heroes, villains, side characters, everything. It's I think it's a lot better than what we get nowadays. Let me just say that.
So there's not like just one main hero and one main villain. It's quite widespread.
Yeah, and then you're like, when you see them on screen, like, hey, I remember you from the last series. Like, I remember, and it's not just last season, it's the last series.
Like, there's a character in 0083 that he has, like, these goggles on, and in Zeta, he's one of the main villains.
So I'm just gonna hire up a bunch of different images because I know nothing, and Anthony sent me different images. So obviously we've talked a little bit about this amazing creator who created this amazing world that's still going today. What about this image?
Oh, that's you, Anthony.
From Gundam Seed. I will get to in a little bit. Right now, we're just trying to do the UC overview.
That is 8th MS Team, one of my favorites, and I highly recommend. Absolutely awesome. It's Romeo and Juliet, Vietnam. Absolutely awesome.
This is gonna really hurt you, but the newer generation of fans, they actually have kind of a resentment to the fact that us OG fans that were the first Westerners exposed to it venerate that one and Gundam Wing so high, and they kind of actively hate both of them.
Okay, that's fine.
Good for them.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
That's Unicorn.
Unicorn. Yeah, that's all right.
Consume all. It's good, but you need to consume a lot of Universal Century media because that'll even directly there's one episode that directly references an episode of Double Zeta Gundam. So if you're fresh, 99% of it is going to go over your head.
There is a giant statue of Gundam Unicorn in Japan.
Is that the one that's been pulled down?
No, that was the RX-78.
Yeah. I think that's the Iron Blooded Orphans. Century did a podcast about that.
Yes, apparently it's his favorite.
Yep.
Is it high on your list, Matt?
I need to watch it. I'm kind of a snob sometimes. I need to watch it. I need to give it another chance.
So 1 second, Anthony. I'm gonna. There you go.
Oh, what you got there?
You mentioned the statue.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that looks lovely.
Come on, do the thing.
Oh, does
Oh,
it
there it
plane?
is. It's moving now.
Wow.
It's actually supposed to like open up. Oh, there you.
Oh, it's changing color.
Yep.
It actually like parts of the suit. Well, the statue, but the suit too. They unfold out and open
Yeah.
up and light up.
Yeah, the horn actually opens up. It's kind of like a power-up mode. That's something that always kind of, weirded me out about later Gundam series. Like they really, tried to turn them into like, power-up mode. It's like, I don't know.
It's one of the power up mode is one of the things that it's either done really well, it could be, or bad, where it's like a get out of jail free card, but you'll get something like Gundam 00 where they have a power mode called Trans Am, but it has a huge drawback that once the Trans Am runs out, then your suit's going to function at below normal capacity. So it's really like a desperation thing.
Yeah.
What about like? Obviously, you can't tell me that Mobile Suit Gundam didn't inspire things like Transformers and the Power Rangers, or even later on Pacific Rim with the Jaegers. It's had a massive. It's definitely had a massive reach out.
There is a version of Gundam that definitely inspired Pacific Rim. Did you send me any pictures of G Gundam?
I believe I sent him one image with, I don't know if he uploaded it, but it was a cast image with the Gundams in the background.
Okay. There's this show called G Gundam, which has nothing to do with Mobile Suit Gundam.
It's set in the future century.
Yeah, it's a future century. It's its own thing.
Right.
Essentially, it's Bloodsport, but with Gundams.
Right.
And it's Bloodsport / Street Fighter with Gundams, and they fight for recognition, and the winner, and then each fighter represents their own respective country, and the winner at the end of the tournament, actually the winner representing the country, that country then rules every other country for 5 years. Thank you for clarifying that.
It's an alternative to war.
Yes, it's an alternative to war, so they don't go to war anymore. And yeah, it's like their version of an election, pretty much. It's a fun show. It sounds silly at first, but it's actually a very entertaining show. And in the end, there's actually a giant monster thing they have to fight as well. So I recommend it for a very silly time.
It should be stated too, it's not a very good alternative to war because the Earth is the ring and like there's no care taken to collateral damage. So yeah, if you're stuck on Earth in the future century during the Gundam tournaments, you're going to have a very long, hard year.
Yeah. Those are details.
Anubis.
But you mentioned Transformers.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did, but when the direct sequel to the original finally came out, Zeta Gundam, it actually had a few suits that transformed, and the premise behind this one is because of the threat to Zeon and whatnot that's still around, the Earth government developed this elite task force called the Titans. Now, among the Titans have like they can just do whatever they want, go anywhere. They're not very good people, but like one of the benefits to joining, you're treated to non-Titan members as though you were 2 ranks higher. So, lieutenant of the Titans, and say is someone that's a captain in the regular Earth forces, he would have to treat that lieutenant like a major because he would be 2 ranks higher. But the Titans are just this very corrupt, ruthless organization, and there arises a group to challenge them called the AUG, and one of their main pilots is our good friend Char Aznavold under the alias Quattro Bagina, and he serves as the mentor to Well,
Spoiler!
this is like first episode stuff, though.
Dude, spoiler!
Dude,
Dude!
it takes all but 2 seconds to look at him and go, "That's Char."
Dude!
Oh,
All I had to do
well,
was call him grandma glasses. That's all you could just do, call him that.
Yeah,
so,
probably.
so,
Oh,
so I better not
Spoiler!
watch that. I better not watch that one.
No,
No,
watch it. It's one of
it's a
the
great
best.
show, but still.
I'm sorry. You know it's him within the first 10 seconds.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm sorry.
So Shaw's basically a huge legend throughout the history of Gundam.
Yes.
Yeah, and listen, in Zeta, he actually mentors the main character, Camille Bidon, whose parents designed weapons for the Titan and Titans. And like I said, the core conflict is basically a civil war between the Aug and the Titans. And like the Titans are ruthless. They'll even gas a colony with toxic gases if it leads to them achieving their means. And we even have Amuro show up in a few episodes in this one, and it's kind of setting the stage for maybe something more to happen between Char and Amuro in the future. But it should be stated, this is a very dark one. Tomino was famously, when he was writing this, going through a serious depression at the time. And it's so reflected in the series, but it's just this great old school, just gritty 80s science fiction.
I have always been fascinated with it, but it's like you say, there's that much to take in. It's where do you start and how far deep can you get, so I'm going to ask is like, so I'll ask us both individually. So for you, Anthony, what is it about Gundam that just fascinates you? What is it that just drew you to it?
Well, just the storytelling and just the great characters they tell these stories around, where you even just find yourself actually caring about characters on the opposing faction. And it's a constant theme you'll see throughout different series where you have people fighting that, even though they're on those opposing sides, have respect for each other. And I love how it can be political in its own way, because it's set in the future in a time where you don't have an immediate likeness. So it kind of asks you these questions without you thinking, oh, this could represent what I believe, or this could represent what I believe. It's a very fun, it does have great action and all that stuff, but it can also be very dramatic, introspective, just dark at times, and also just there are moments where it's just beautifully hopeful and optimistic.
Matt, same question.
That's pretty much, you pretty much hit the nail around the head. The storytelling, the characters, the trials and tribulations, the go a different direction. The fight sequences that they have, the animations look amazing as well. The music, I especially love the music in these. It's just knock it right out of the ballpark. I just love all the music in these. I used to have like a soundtrack to all of these shows. I prefer all these Gundam shows over all these other animes that are out. Just love it.
Can you remember the first time you ever were introduced to Gundam?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Toonami, 1998, I believe it was. Gundam Wing.
Late 98, I believe.
Yeah, late 98. Yep.
And fun fact, the TV promo that introduced Gundam Wing before it launched was voiced by Peter Cullen. So it was literally the voice of Optimus Prime that introduced us to Gundam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like I remember years ago, I didn't know much. Like you call it Mobile Suit Gundam, but I do remember years ago hearing about something called uh, Gundam Wing, and so I always assumed that's what it was always called, Gundam Wing.
Mm-hmm.
I know Matt's itching to talk about that one.
Mm-hmm. That's my favorite one.
Gundam Wing. Well, break it away then. If you wish to talk about it, talk about it.
After Colony 197, the Rockefeller Foundation and Oz have taken over, and they've assassinated one Hiro Yui in the colonies, which is a lot of assassination in the Gundam universe. So, as a response to this, 5 Gundam pilots are sent to Earth to retaliate and cause a ruckus to Oz. And another theme of the Gundam universe is the one solo badass pilot. Of we had the Red Comet in the original series, and in this series we have the Lightning Count, one Zex Marquis.
The very Char clone.
Be nice.
Well, that's the term. Well, I should address it. There's this term called Char clone, and it's used to describe characters in different series that are Char-esque.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll call Char. Okay. But he pilots my favorite mobile suit. All right, I'll bring it out again. The Tallgeese. Okay. Which is not a Gundam. It is actually the basis for all Gundams. Okay. And it's just an awesome story. And the best thing about this is, I remember how Amuro is not an adult. Well, neither are any of the Gundam pilots in the show Gundam Wing. And through ups and downs, they have to deal with Oz and with their overpowered mobile suits, but they also have to deal with their own problems as well, and also deal with problems from outer space and deal with problems on Earth as well. Also questioning their own existence as well, dealing with conflicting orders. Also with their main character dealing with questions about people that they interact with as well. So I don't really want to get too far into it. I wanted you to actually watch the show as well, but it's separate from the actual the 0079, the Mobile Suit series. So I highly recommend it, and the animation is a great step up from what was originally there, and yeah, awesome stuff. I absolutely love it. Also, the music was absolutely amazing, and Anthony Jordan actually told me this. I had no idea that this was a thing. He actually wrote the music to one GMK.
Oh,
and when you watch Gundam Wing, then put in GMK, there are certain pieces of music that you're like, those sound very similar, but not in a lazy way, in a very good way.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, wow. Now, another thing I'd like to bring up, since I always see parallels with this, the Gundam series actually parallels Godzilla. It starts off very serious, very, very serious. And then it starts to have more of like a campy feel towards the end of it and towards where we are right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I love campy stuff. Nothing wrong with that at all. But there is a huge parallel with it. So where we are right now. So, okay, I'm done.
I'll second what Matt said. If you were to compare the first Gundam series to Godzilla 1984, G Gundam, which we mentioned, would definitely be one of the more super cheesy Showa era movies.
So would you say, with you saying that, you know how the Godzilla series has the Showa era, the Heisei, Millennium, and then the new. Would you say Gundam has like a same pattern on
I'd
like the
say
direct, like how the direction of it goes, like from like you said, the goofy to the serious?
I'd say that Gojira is to the 0079 series, like pretty much all of the. I'm going to call it the Char versus Amuro arc. I'd say that's pretty much Gojira, and I'd say that those are all Gojira pretty much. That's like the serious stuff. Then I'd say, like the more like the 70s, like the more silly stuff. I would say would be more like Godzilla versus Gigan
Megalon.
and Megalon. I would say that's more like G Gundam, and I'd say Wing is more like Destroy All Monsters. I would say War in the Pockets and Stardust Memory is more like Mothra versus Godzilla. And Anthony, if I'm speaking out of turn, please stop me. Okay.
No, I'm interested to see your comparisons.
Okay. 0080. No. 8th MS team. Ooh. Again, I'd say Mothra versus Godzilla again.
Which one is Attack All Monsters? The worst of the worst.
The worst here? Oh, I don't think anyone's really that bad. I've never watched. Oh, wait a minute. Are we talking?
Well, if you want the worst of the worst,
Turner.
I haven't even seen it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Seed Destiny.
Oh, Seed. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. The one with I'd say the one with the mustache. Yeah.
Turn A Gundam.
Yeah, Turn A Gundam. Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Which was the first time a Gundam was actually designed by a Western artist.
Yeah, that one was. Nah, I didn't really care for that one.
So, do you have any favorite designed Gundams?
Yeah, I have a few. I'll let Anthony go first. I think I'm rambling on too much. I need to. Yeah, I want him to talk.
One of mine, and it's my favorite UC Gundam, is the new Gundam, not NEW, but NU Gundam from Char's Counterattack. I feel like it's the pinnacle of Gundam design in the Universal Century. The Gundam Death Scythe from Gundam Wing and another. These are no particular order, by the way, but from Gundam 00, I absolutely love the design of Gundam Exia here.
Oh, that's a nice one.
It's like such this like elegant, sleek design for a Gundam that's meant to be like an aggressively close quarters combat machine.
The two Gundams I got you, what series are they from?
Oh, the one is from. Oh, let me put this guy back. This one here is from Gundam Build Fighters, which is a alternate universe, and it's basically the premise of the series is where the models are basically like little robots and they battle them in tournaments.
Oh, right.
But this is the Strike Gundam from Gundam Seed. And as you can see, it was intentional, but it's basically meant to look like the can I copy your homework version of the original Gundam.
All right.
Which I'm not knocking it for that, but I'm kind of glad they went with that route, but that's what they did for the Strike.
So they're basically this version, aren't they?
Yeah, because Gundam Seed is kind of half a like partial retelling of Universal Century. You still have the Earth and space colony war, but you have a twist where there are these people called coordinators, which are humans that are genetically altered in the womb, and they live in the space colonies, and they're at war with the Earth forces. Seed, while not one of the best, and I can certainly understand the frustrations with it, I still like it. Its biggest problem for me is the secondary characters are the ones that get the great character development, why our main characters, and especially our main character of Kira Yamato, just gets to the point where he just becomes so infallible. He's completely unrelatable, but he also does get one of the coolest Gundams ever in the Freedom Gundam. Which this thing here, one cool thing it has a system, and you'll hear that a lot. Some Gundams have their own unique systems. This has something called the multi-targeting system, where each gun on this suit can target an individual target.
Right.
But Seed is more about a commentary, I guess you can say, on racism.
All right. Well, that's interesting. I'll probably look forward to watching that one. Well, I'll be looking forward to watching them all, but it's going to be a very slow start for me. Because, like I say, I have no knowledge whatsoever. I'd have a little bit now, and I'm starting to kind of understand it with what you're telling us. So the great thing about me is that you've said is I've got the first 3 films. So that's a great start point for me. Matt, what are some of your favorite designs?
Well, I'm gonna see it again, but you got the tall geese. Love this one. Okay. Now, later in the series, the same pilot gets this one.
Epion.
Okay. Now, we got this at work the other day ago, and I could not say no. It's not an exact replica of the original, but it's the 2.0 version of it. But, it's close enough. The RX-78 2.0 version.
That's nice.
Okay. Now, the fun thing about this is that you have to build the skeleton first, and then you have to build around it. So, it's going to take a little while.
It has a fully articulated frame you assemble, and then you snap the armor onto the frame.
Now, strangely enough, this one Gundam I really like from G Gundam. Well, actually, there's 2 from G Gundam I really like. One is called Master Gundam. It's kind of like Epion, but it's more easier to move around. I'm going to send you a picture of it real quick.
Right.
And hang on, I'm sorry. And it's used, but the fun thing about those Gundams in that series, and what I was saying earlier, is that in that series is that when we were talking about
being like
Pacific Rim earlier, is that when you can use the Jaegers in Pacific Rim, is that when you can move around, you can feel and everything. You remember how in Pacific Rim, it's like they would like the Jaeger, the arm would break and everything. That's the way it was in G Gundam. So it's like, it feels like it got right from that. And that came out, I think, 1995, I think that came out. So,
right, 1 second, download.
Like, basically, when the pilots in G Gundam, when they go into the suit, this, like, skin-tight, like, membrane gets dropped around their body, and that allows the cockpit system to trace their movements, and it's called the mobile trace system, and like whatever movement they make, the Gundam will then make the same movement.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well,
Right, 1 second. I'm about to add it on. Boom.
there you go. That's Master Gundam. Now, the fun thing about Master Gundam is the character's name, Master Asia, actually doesn't have a mobile trace system that actually goes around him as well. So, yeah, it's a little fun thing that happens. So, and also one last one, he's known as Devil Gundam. Now, in the U.S. version of G Gundam, he's known as Burning Gundam. Now, in the Japanese version, he's known as God Gundam for some reason. In the American version, he's known as Dark Gundam, but in the Japanese version, he's known as Devil Gundam. So, I don't know. They changed it for a localization version. So, yeah, I love that. I just love giant mobile armors as well, which is another version of a Gundam that you can see in the show is mobile armors. So,
And it's kind of a almost kaiju-esque Gundam.
I was going to say, it looks more like a mechanical monster than a regular Gundam.
Without going into spoilers, it's basically a rogue AI that wants to wipe out humanity, but there's a lot more to it than that, so it's just a straight-up monster.
Yes.
I've just seen a couple of more images there. I don't think I showed this one. Oh, 1 second.
Oh, the Yakushiki. There's the Yakushiki and a Zeta Gundam. Nice.
I really like that gold-looking Gundam.
That's the mobile suit Quattro gets, which his character, like in every series, like he always gets this beautifully standout mobile suit.
He's kind of a diva.
Bit like yourself, then that's probably why I like it then.
Yeah. He deserves to stand out. Yeah, he deserves it. And he gets this really cool one in a later series, but I want you to see that movie after you watch it. If you want to watch everything else, cool. But when you get to Char's counterattack, he gets this really cool suit called the Sazabi, which I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a really cool suit.
And I'm sure I had a couple of, if I can get them. Did I have some posters, some Gundam posters I downloaded? Or have I lost them? I think I've lost them once.
No.
But I did have some nice image, like posters. But I'm just gonna read a little bit about where am I from? That's it. So I've just been reading that. As of March 2020, the franchise is owned by Bandai Namco Holdings through subsidiaries Sotsu and Sunrise. The Gundam franchise has grossed over 5 billion in retail sales by 2000. By 2022, the annual revenue of the Gundam franchise reached 101.7 billion per year. 44.2 billion yen of which was retail sales of toys and hobby items.
So, wonder how much of that you accounted for, Matt.
I mean, Jay. I mean, come on, dude.
So it says since 1980, Gundam has also appeared in the following countries and regions: Italy, Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, Macau, Philippines, Indonesia, America, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. And here is a little bit about the impact of Gundam. Gundam is a Japanese cultural icon and a multi-billion yen annual business for Bandai Namco. Annual revenue for the franchise reached 54.5 billion by 2006. 2006, 80.2 billion by 2014, and 145.7 billion by 2024. Stamps have been issued. An Agriculture Ministry employee was reprimanded for contributing to the Japanese Wikipedia Gundam-related pages. And the Japan Self-Defense Forces have codenamed it developing Advanced Personal Combat System Gundam. So the Japanese have actually called it High Secret Coding System Gundam. Thanks to the success of the actual Gundam franchise. Based on a December 16, 2023 survey conducted by Nikiti Entertainment, the fan base of Gundam within Japan has an average age of 42 years and a male to female ratio that skews 90.10, whatever that means. The impact of Gundam in Japan has been compared to the impact of Star Wars in the United States.
There you go.
Yeah, look, the Zaku 2 here is pretty much culturally to Japan what the Stormtrooper is here.
It's just reading all about that. It just shows you how massively impressive Gundam is.
It just got done making an appearance in Call of Duty. It has multiple video games. Oh, not multiple. It's got dozens of video games out as well. It's got, it even has a live action movie out, which, if you've got time for pain, we can talk about for a little bit.
Time for pain. Is it a Japanese-based live action?
It was made in Canada.
No, it's not.
Used Starship Trooper props.
So who actually made this movie?
A very low budget company. Hang on. I will please indulge me for one moment, and I shall indulge you and the good people. It came out in 1999. G-Savior is a 1999 Japan-Canadian collaborative live-action television film created as part of a Gundam anime franchise. Produced by Polestar Entertainment under the supervision of Sunrise and distributed by Bandai Visual Wikipedia. Released December 29th, 2000 in Japan. Directed by, Graham Campbell. Budget $1 billion. No way.
That $1
billion Japan. Okay, that has to be something. Okay. Story by Stephanie Pina Sai. Distributed by Bandai Visual. Adapted from Mobile Suit Gundam. Okay. It stands at a 4.2 out of 10 on IMDb. 49% of people like this film. I will be as kind as possible to this film. I watched this film back in 1999 when I was in high school. I enjoyed it for what it is. One of the people in this film was actually one of the voice actors on Gundam Wing. She voiced Lady Yun. It takes place with a disillusioned soldier of the. It's not even really the Earth Federation. It has nothing really to do with the original source material. It's its own thing, so it's not really, have to really do anything with it. It's just its own story. And he leaves the military because he's test piloting a mobile suit. Not a Gundam, he's test piloting a mobile suit. I guess it's one of the MW Rays. It's a brand new mobile suit for the military. However, one of the other test pilots, the mobile suit falls apart during the testing. He feels bad and he wants to go and try and save him. However, he's told to stay on course and he disobeyed. Wow, this sounds like Top Gun. But anyway, he tries to stay. He wants to go help him. Things don't go well. He leaves the military. Come to find out that there's a brand new type of agricultural breakthrough that's going to feed everyone. However, the military, for some reason, doesn't want to feed everyone for some reason. Shenanigans happen. A Gundam shows up and a big war in space. And yeah, I know I'm skipping over some things. It's definitely a product of its time. It's very low budget. And yeah.
And it was part of the Gundam Big Bang project, which was a multimedia project started at the end of the 90s to introduce the franchise to the Western audiences.
Well,
it is free on YouTube if you want to watch it. My favorite part of this film is the theme song. The design of G Savior itself, which is the name of it, it's not really, they don't really, it's, I can't remember if they even called a Gundam in this, but it's called the G Savior itself. It looks fine. My favorite part, again, is the theme song of it. It has a very triumphant theme. It almost sounds like John Williams wrote it in a way, but not really. But anyway, it's free on YouTube if you want to watch it. And that's about all I'm going to really say about it.
It's not. It's far from the worst designed Gundam.
Yes, but it's definitely not a really high caliber Gundam film to watch. So, yes.
Well, I'm reading at the 2018 Anime Expo, Legendary Pictures and Sunrise announced a collaboration to develop a live-action Gundam film. Brian K. Vaughan was brought in to write and serve as executive producer for the film. In April 2021, it was reported that the project had landed at Netflix and that Jordan Roberts had been hired to direct. In October 2024, it was announced that Jim Mickle would be the new director and writer, and that Netflix is no longer involved.
Oh, that's a relief.
Yeah. I've seen plenty of giant robot movies. The only giant robot movie I've seen in my life that's very convincing is Pacific Rim. That's the only film that's really done. But for a film like Gundam to be done justice, they have to move a lot faster than they are in Pacific Rim. I don't really want to see a live action Gundam film. Stick to animated. CG, you're kind of pushing it, but don't do live action. I don't want to see a live action Gundam film. Now you could amaze me. Sure, I could be amazed, but Pacific Rim has shown me that they can move only a certain level, and I've seen in Godzilla with Mecha Godzilla, he only moves at a certain speed. Gundams have to move a lot faster than that. So
like fighter jets.
Yeah, they're fighter jets in the shape of humans. It's just they got to move fast. They got to do faster things. They got to fight with beam sabers and move a lot quicker than that. I'm not feeling it. They can't move. They can't move like they're underwater. Come on,
you need a director with the same sensibility as Godzilla -1's director to even have a prayer of pulling it off.
Yeah, I'm surprised, like in Japan, they haven't done a live action film. You've got your Cameras, you've got your Godzillas, they did Shin Ultraman. So I'm surprised they haven't done a live action Gundam. They even did a live action Attack of Titan film.
And they also did a live action Death Note. But to piggyback on that, Char's Counterattack is a movie. Is a movie sequel to the original Gundam series.
It was theatrically released.
Gundam Wing, the film Endless Waltz, is a film sequel to Gundam Wing as well, but all as as an anime.
Mhm.
So again, I put that as evidence as Gundam should stay as an anime. But
Just-
then again, I have been amazed in the past as well. So
Did they
show
not?
me.
Did they not feature a live action Gundam in Ready Player One?
yeah.
Yeah, they did.
And I thought they did a good job, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
Especially when
I keep forgetting. I keep
especially
forgetting
when they
about
took
them.
on Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, but if you were to watch again, you're new to watching Gundam. You're new to this, and I don't want to sound like a snob. I am coming off snobbish, and I should really stop doing that. That is a flaw of mine. I am coming off snobbish. These things move a lot faster than they did in Ready Player One.
I don't think it's snobbish. I think you're just very protective of something you're
It's
passionate
very
about.
passionate.
Thank you.
That's not snobbish. That's because you don't want, something that you're passionate about to be damaged or to be, be given like a mistreatment, I guess.
Okay. All right. Thank you. But again, if I'm amazed, I want to be amazed. Please amaze me. So okay, I'm open to being amazed. But then again, if I'm not, I will be upset. So, but then again, there's that.
I'm
Like
open to being amazed, but I'm not exactly gonna set my expectations all that high either.
Well,
Okay.
I was a massive fan of Transformers, like how you are with Gundam, and I'm still not happy with any of the live action films.
Okay, that's fair.
I
I was about
think
to ask you, did you like Transformers 1?
I love that.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I thought they did a great job with that.
I think to compare the two, the one thing that gives me hope Gundam could be better adapted is that you don't have to worry about balancing the human and the Transformers characters. The Gundam is essentially a piece of military hardware, so you just have to nail the human characters.
Exactly. There you go. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Transformers, I don't do a lot of animated film reviews, but I did that one because I really liked it. I've only done a couple of bit of animated reviews, but you've taught me a lot, gentlemen. It's like there is a lot to take in, but I've got a good start and everything that you've taught us.
I'm not going to talk about it, but before we go, definitely I recommend the 00 highly, 2 seasons and a movie. And it's notably the one Gundam thing that's actually set in our Anno Domini calendar.
Right. But like I say, you've told me, I think, enough for now. Like, I don't want to get too deep because I think my brain's already in overload. But I think what you've taught me is a very good start, and I definitely am going to check them 3 movies out on Netflix.
Is it all right if I share a closing quote from Tomino?
Not at all. Go ahead.
This was a more recent interview with him, and I believe it was at a college he was invited to speak. He goes, "Death is within my reach. I think it's a good thing to be able to face death peacefully. I want to face death head on rather than leaving something tangible behind. I've come to think I want to create something that can be passed on to the next generation. It may not be something that connects with people now, but the next generation should understand it. I believe that the message of Reconquista G, which is one series he did, and he's basically talking about that here, will have been configured 30 years from now. I hope that the future will be different from the Earth of today."
I wonder how we would feel about the Earth of the day, but that's a subject for another matter. But anyway, Gojira 851, Mr. Anthony Jordan, you've been fantastic. You've really given me an insight into the beginnings of Gundam, I have a lot to think about, a lot to watch. But that's the whole point about this new segment, education, to being educated on things I don't know. And so I'm going to read up a hell of a lot more on Me Gundam, and I'm going to really start getting into it, hopefully, in the next few weeks. Is there anything coming to your channel soon, Mr. Anthony Jordan?
Well, I got to work on my Godzilla versus Gigan review. And as far as that, I still want to do the Yakuza Pirate in Hawaii review, but other than continuing my Godzilla stuff, I'm just going to play the rest of it by ear.
Yes. Anything coming your way, Gojira 851?
I don't have anything planned right now. Just kind of playing it by ear. Just waiting for pre-orders to be released and come in.
Cool. Well, as for me in the entertainment headquarters, I do have another review coming tomorrow, which will be my review of Locked with Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins. I've got some more education segments coming up: Heavy Metal, Spawn, Ultraman. And I also have the retro classic movie show film Legend coming soon. Haven't picked a date quite yet, but we're nearly there. I'm just waiting to hear back from my co-host DJ Anubis. But like I say, this has been fun. Thank you, gentlemen, for giving me your time. And for everybody, and for everybody who's watched, thank you so much. We'll catch us all at the next one.